Lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Rufino's on Highland Road. Welcome to the Friday edition Live at Lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Max Gautreaux. Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. Troy Macker with us today. Chris Passero with us today. Bruce Marshall with us today. And we have right now starting NCAA baseball tournament. The first 4 games going here at 11 o'clock. A couple of really, I think, kind of juicy matchups to start with SEC teams. Kentucky and Wake Forest, 2 really good pitchers going in that one, and East Carolina and Tennessee. Tennessee holding Tegan Coons, their ace, for the second game in Chapel Hill. Will that be a winner's bracket game or a loser's bracket game? East Carolina is throwing their 1, and the odds have just shot up on Tennessee here this morning, all the way up to minus 220 on the Vols.
Well, North Carolina's whining, boy. God, they're whining. They're whining about the and I think they have. I think they do have some room. You know, some reason for their being upset. I think it's the best 2-3-4 combination of the 16 regionals. Would you? Tennessee is young. They are unproven, but they do have some talent. Vitello didn't. He just left them a lot of. They're playing better coming into the tournament.
Yeah.
The 3. East Carolina and Cliff Godwin is a 3, Charlie. That's tough.
No, it's really tough.
They might not be the strongest. They've hosted before. They're not close. They're a 3 seed for a reason, okay? But a 3 seed in East Carolina, he's going to have a decent team.
Yeah.
And VCU is considerably better than a lot of 4s.
Yeah.
What's the one you like? What do you think is stronger?
I would tell you that potentially Hattiesburg with Jacksonville State as a 3.
Okay, I can listen to that.
And Virginia is a 2. But I think that North Carolina is a stronger 1 than Southern Miss. So
how'd you feel about Duke last year? Because Virginia's Duke.
Yeah.
The coach took the 7 best players and their best recruits.
Right.
So.
They were. I remember them being good, maybe not great, but good.
I don't think Virginia's one of the top 2 seeds out there. Jacksonville State as a 3, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
They're favored in the game.
Right.
So that tells you a little bit. Jacksonville State's better than the normal 3, and Virginia is not so strong. That's
Jacksonville State and Virginia are 25-26 in the RPIs. Tennessee's 31, so they're all right there. And East Carolina's 40. It's close. It's close. I could hear an argument either way on that one.
And who's the 4 there?
The 4 is Little Rock, who last year, put a charge in LSU. So they're, DP RPI again. So okay, but last year their RPIs in the
Jacksonville
80s.
State is legit.
Yeah,
they're legit.
So, but
won a decent conference regular season title and 10-run ruled them. Liberty, who's good too.
Who is going? Speaking of Liberty, they're in one of these early games against Boston College. Liberty is the favorite. Liberty.
Here comes Mr. Curtis, Charlie.
All right.
Hey, Curtis.
Liberty is the favorite. They have a better RPI than Boston College by a couple. They were 21-9 in Conference USA. They won twice as many Q1 games as Boston College did. Of course, they're not in the they're not in the Power League, Jimmy, but their strength of schedules weren't terribly different. And you think Liberty's got a big pitching edge in this game?
They do. Boston College is throwing one of their veterans. He's been, their number 1 during the weekend series, but he's given up at least 6 earned runs in the last 6 starts. Boston College coach talks about it. This is a top reliever last year that's turned in. He stayed at Liberty and has turned him into it. He's got a funky delivery, almost kind of 3/4 sidearm, and he has made the transition from reliever to starter pretty seamlessly. He is. They're the favorite in this game. So the odds makers making a pick. It has been bet to a favorite. I think Liberty has a substantial pitching advantage. I'm going to be on Liberty early.
The other game is probably the biggest mismatch of the whole day today is Georgia Tech hosting Illinois Chicago, who's got the lowest RPI of anybody in the field. Georgia Tech is minus 3,000 if you want to play the.
But up at the run line.
Minus
okay,
8.5.
I'll 7.5.
8.5 now.
Well, there's some 7.5s out there.
Okay, yeah. And you still minus 125, 130 when you land.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, the VIG is more when a low volume betting sport like college baseball.
The other thing to remember is no 10-run rule in the NCAA
tournament. That's why.
That
and I took the over. They mash.
They do.
They mash, and I don't. I think they might be a little bit stronger in the lineup. It's come see, come saw. Okay, as far as them in Georgia. But we know that park, and maybe downtown Atlanta, that little park it plays. It's not. I don't know the ball. They feed the trees. The balls. They go out by it seems like 75 feet. Yeah. To clear the fence. I mean,
I didn't play, but I would play your.
I'm going over in Georgia Tech.
They're going to win that game 17-2. What's the total?
It's like 13.5, 14,
up to 15.5. Now I'd still play it. That's going to be a 17-2
there are some
game.
variants in these totals as well in college baseball. So it was a 2-run difference when I bet it earlier this morning.
The significant wind is only in, wait for it, Nebraska. In Lincoln, the only wind totals that we've got that are over 12.5 miles an hour.
So they're not playing in Stillwater and Dallas Baptist, huh?
No.
Yeah.
So winds blowing in Lincoln. Everything else is not what you would call egregious wind today. We had Max check on all the weather. Noon, Auburn going against Milwaukee. That's a Milwaukee team that LSU saw at the beginning of the season. Auburn is one of the teams that I really, really like to make a strong run at the national title this year. Texas has got, I think, a pretty easy game against Holy Cross, one of the lowest RPIs in the field, and a losing record overall. So that goes at noon on the SEC Network. Also, Florida, who we like. The two teams that we were on, if you checked out our Bet Rivers Bettor's Paradise podcast earlier this week, we both like Auburn and Florida at a price. Not the price you were getting a week ago, but still at a pretty decent price. Both of them top 8 national seeds. They'll stay at home. They're both balanced teams. They've got good frontline pitching, excellent fielding, and you're getting a little bit of a
Florida's
price on them.
hot, too.
And Florida
and we've
is,
seen teams
Florida's
just
hot.
get hot. I mean, you know, they're a good team, but they were. I mean, this is not the same team that got swept at home by Alabama.
No,
at home.
That was in early March or mid-March. Excuse me. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
It was conference play.
It was, and it all counts. But
I mean,
I'm a lot more interested. You know how in basketball,
well, did Ole Miss get hot?
Yeah, and they took it all away. Absolutely, it can happen. Southern Miss.
Southern Miss got. Remember last year, that first game. And there's some history there. I did the game. I don't forget what year that was, Ricky Weeks' junior year with Southern. But they lost that first game, put them in the loser's bracket. They could not. They fought their way back out, beat Baylor once, but couldn't beat Baylor. They were just spent with their pitching by they had to play Baylor again. That's the year Baylor came to Baton Rouge as a super and lost. Last year, Columbia out of the Ivy League. They beat Southern Miss in the first one. Mm-hmm. Southern Miss gets all the way out, and then they lose to Columbia again. So this first game is important, and I think they'll take care of business. I'll be very surprised if we don't have a repeat of that super regional. Remember that year where Southern Miss went to? It's the only super regional that Sully lost, I believe.
Yeah, and it was also the last year
in Gainesville. And Southern Miss, went to Omaha. I forget what year that was.
They've lost regionals before. There's only super regional.
No, that was super.
Yeah. Corky Palmer was in his last year. He had been at Southern Miss for a long time, and they got him to Omaha in his last year. That's right. I'd forgotten that they had beat Florida. They're throwing Camden Clark today, who took the place of their regular Friday night guy, Allen. I'm blanking on Allen's first name, but he took his place. Allen came back. They're going to go with Clark here in game number 1, but they have got 3 frontline pitchers behind him. They beat Little Rock today, and they're going to be as pitching chock-a-block as you could possibly hope for in a regional. That game goes at 12 o'clock from Hattiesburg. It'll be a little warm, don't you think?
2008. Is that 18 years ago?
It was 18 years ago. Your math is correct. Wow, doesn't feel like 18 years ago, does it?
Charlie, the years.
They were still in the old park, man. They were still in Rosenblatt.
I'm going to be 60 in October, Charlie. Okay?
Yeah, I know exactly when your birthday is. Mississippi State at 1 o'clock. Oklahoma State at 1 o'clock. It is same day and all that stuff. So we got a lot of college baseball to get to.
It's fun, man.
I love this day. I love
fun.
this weekend.
You know,
it is awfully weird not to be waiting on LSU to play, but that's how that rolls. We've been through that a bunch of times.
But I mean,
about why.
to know to follow it and to know what it takes to get through it, for everybody, not just your team, then you can speak authoritatively on how big of a deal it is. That's all. That's my deal. When people just shut it down because their local team that they cover is not it. Well, just kind of, so how big of a deal is it? You don't watch it. It ain't much of a deal if your team's not in it. You're not even watching it, paying attention, covering it. Just me. That's a pet peeve of mine. So,
what's for lunch, pet peeve?
I came here last night on assignment, Charlie.
Did you?
Yes, to try. So,
and give me the scouting report.
The Bang Bang crawfish tails, check. Yes, fried Louisiana crawfish tails, Bang Bang sauce, arugula. That's one of Chef Patrick's appetizer features today over here. Chef, Mr. Curtis strongly suggests the beef ravioli with the Parmesan truffle cream, sugar snap peas, and the crispy shallots. Not shallots, shallots.
Curtis recommends.
That's right, Curtis recommendation on the beef ravioli. Ethan weighed in tonight. He ate the veal saltimbocca. Saltimbocca?
You tell me.
Yes, the panade veal cutlets, crispy prosciutto. The prosciutto gives a nice little salty flavor. You talk about natural fried sage, capellini fresca. It is wonderful. Wonderful. I snuck a taste of his last night. Suggested wine pairing is a Ruffino Chianti out of Tuscany. And then the bacon-crusted grouper, that's what I'm having today, with the sweet corn puree and green beans. Suggested wine pairing is a Frank Family Chardonnay out of Napa. So the 5.0 ERA starter for the Vols today. They're saving their number one. A couple of hard-hit balls, but 3 up, 3 down in Chapel Hill. The Vols come to bat against East Carolina.
And already Liberty has jumped on Boston College. Hit by pitch, single. 2-0 Flames. Still batting in the top of the first. Live at
Let's go Flames.
Rufino's.
Let's go Flames.
Live at lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Charlie, where do we usually find Massaro?
San Diego
or
Vegas.
So we go to Boston.
Okay.
He's he made his reservations because he figured the Celtics will be in the NBA Finals at this time.
Well, you just can't help yourself picking on him.
Chris, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm on cloud nine, as I mentioned to you after last night. The Spurs are back. We have a Game 7. I'm in a little bit of it. I am in Boston, but I am at the beautiful Encore Boston Harbor, which is actually in Everett, Mass. But looks just like the Encore of the Wynn, and everything inside looks exactly the same. So I can close my eyes, wake up, and pretend I'm at the Wynn in Las Vegas. But I'm actually in Everett, Mass.
It's a nice property, Chris?
Oh, it's beautiful. It looks exactly everything looks exactly the same. The rooms. Okay. The inside, the furnishings, the casino floor, everything. It's just exactly the same.
But you and Bovey, this is true. I pick, but I value, Charlie, because they have governors basically on the AC units because it gets so hot. Everybody just can't pin it.
Yeah.
And so Chris and Paul Bovey know all of the better working air conditions and where you're headed to in Saratoga. When it gets hot there, you better know who has the proper AC too as well.
That's just in-depth scouting, man. That's just really good.
Is the AC at the Wynn one of your favorites?
This one, you know what? This unit, the room I am in last night, the AC was not a problem at all. I didn't even have to crank it to the lowest level. It's still cold. The regular Wynn in Las Vegas, the vent does not blow near the bed. it blows towards the desk. So, and to give props to Paul Bovey, he is not afraid to move the bed in the room to a different section of the room. I've seen
You guys ought to write a travel guide, really.
This is great stuff.
I've seen it in person. I've seen it in person. He wonders why he has a bad back.
Yes, he's been to surgeons from New York to Puerto Vallarta to try and cure those back aches. But anyway, he's cool when he sleeps at night. At the Wynn. But anyway, hey,
what I want to say, real quick, what I want to say is I won't be mentioning any of the golfers this week, as I have jinxed myself and Max back-to-back weeks. So we're just going to let it ride. I'm not going to let anyone know who I have, and hopefully next week I'll tell you that me and Max are going to win.
Such a rookie move. Don't early call it a golf on a Friday. Come on, you doing
guys? He shot a 61. I was excited.
All right, so we are sweating Boston College because we have bet to lie this baseball. Speaking
Whoa! You have Boston College today?
No, we have Liberty. We have Liberty.
Good. Yeah. My friend's son plays for the Liberty Flames. He's third baseman Jordan Jaffe, and my friend's brother LaCroix there is the coach of the team. So I'm a huge Liberty fan. I have them at some ridiculous odds to win the whole thing. It's not going to happen, but you never know. I got them at 35-1 just to make the College World Series. So I'm rooting for Liberty too. We're up 2-0 early.
So you have them to win it all. So you like to tie in little random bets from time to time to some futures. Say like I had coming into this week. Speaking of air conditioning, I don't think Yannick Sinner's air conditioning was working properly in Paris, but I had 4 different little bets. So we're closing out with Sinner winning the French. You can't get a bigger lead than up 2 sets in a 5. I guess it could be a 5-0 in the third, but 5-1 in the third, and he starts cramping up. C'est la vie. So those are burned up in flames. So there you go. That I'm still trying to get over that one.
That's
obviously.
his thing, though. He's the king.
Yes.
He's the king of the cramps. Rafael Nadal was the king of the clay court, and Sinner is the king of the cramps. So he's one guy I cannot trust. I've had him before on tournaments and futures, like you said, and he just doesn't. He doesn't really raise my confidence the way he plays. I know when he's on, he's the best in the world, but the cramping situation and some of these losses he's taken too much for me. He
is one of the all-time greats. Think about they have the Masters 1000s, Charlie. So like it's Rome. That's everything from Rome to Monte Carlo to Indian Wells to Miami. Okay, all right. He has won them all. You know how many people have won them all in the history?
Most people don't play them
One
all.
other.
Yeah.
His name is Novak Djokovic.
Yeah. Most people don't play them all, right?
He destroyed people in the clay. He played too much also.
Yeah.
He was taxed coming in.
That's kind of where I'm going with that. Most that schedule is,
it's not 1 year. It's over the career.
Okay.
So, but
this year he played.
My point is Djokovic is pretty good company.
Yeah.
Okay, but he is cramped up in Cincinnati. He cramped up in Rome. He cramped up in the epic final where he had multiple match points against Alcaraz in the French Open last year. He got through it. He cramped up in Australia, but it reached a certain point and where they automatically closed the roof, which he got a break there, which cooled it down once they had a break, and they take the 30 minutes to close the roof. But anyway, hey, you going to Saratoga, huh? When are you heading up that way?
Going up on Tuesday. We've had the same group of guys for the past 4 or 5 years, and just having the Belmont up there, it's just something special. It's just a great time of the year. We just pray for good weather and healthy horses, and should be a lot of fun. The Belmont's shaping up to be a pretty good race. We got 10 confirmed starters in the race, so a lot of the big dogs from the Derby are going to be there. It should be interesting to see if Renegade, if he gets a good trip, he's going to win it, or Chief Wallaby gets a better trip if he can win it, and we'll see what happens with Golden Tempo. The winner there. Not exactly the perfect setup that he got in the Derby, but it's just great to have the big names, and if they can run in the Belmont and then come back for the Travers later in the summer up in Saratoga, that's all you want. You want some You want some momentum for the sport, and there's nothing better, and no better place to be for horse racing than Saratoga Springs, New York.
Yeah, Saratoga is elite horse racing. It's a pretty good party, and Del Mar is an elite party with some pretty good horse racing. So,
Mile and a quarter for the Belmont?
Mile and 3/16 or mile and a quarter, Chris?
Well, they can't. Yeah, they don't run it. There's no proper place to have the gate for the safety of the horses. So they run it at a mile and a quarter instead of a mile and a quarter. Mile and a quarter. But next year, Belmont's back. Actually, Belmont's going to be back for September, I believe. I saw some schedules coming out, some stakes races in September. They're going to be running at the new Belmont, and the Breeders' Cup will be there before you know it. So might have to go check out the new Belmont at some point soon.
All right, you mentioned the Spurs. You think they are mature enough? Is Wemby going to, toughen it out a little bit and go spend the time in the paint where he's most impactful to get this to be competitive? We've had a great game one, but after that, there's been a lot of blowouts in this series. You got, because they held serve against a team. You had Oklahoma City last year. They kind of exhale when they have these games, these elimination games. Whether it's the Minnesota or Denver or not Denver, but the Pacers. You think the Spurs have a chance, huh?
Well, I was pretty heavy on the Spurs last night, per my tweets on X there, so everyone can can check that out. But my main thing was, the home court has been huge. The zigzag has been pretty prevalent. And if you look back at last year, as you mentioned, OKC in Game 6s has just been dismal at best. Minnesota, Indiana, they got smoked in the finals in Game 6. So their killer instinct hasn't been there. They have a lot of injuries. And as I pointed out last night, my two biggest takeaways on the game were, I'm not sure how good SGA is. I know he makes some of these tough shots, but I mean, when he is not going to the free throw line 15 times, he is just an average player. He was a minus 28 last night. He only had 3 free throws. He only scored 15 points. He was a non-factor in the game. Yeah, you got, Jalen Williams is hurt. A.J. Mitchell, who's their big energy guy off the bench, he's out. You got to wonder if OKC is the one that's running out of gas. I will say another thing, and my second takeaway of the game was I don't think the Spurs can win Game 7 if they're going to shoot 43s again. I know they were hot early. They almost turned into the Celtics middle of that game. I know they went on that big run, but they were shooting some crazy rush threes, and I'm not a fan of that. I want Wemby in the paint as well. I just don't think they can shoot 43s on the road and expect to win. I would hope they have that tough mentality. You could see it a little bit last night when they went after SGA on that hard foul. They got to do a little bit more of that because they're not getting. I mentioned this with the show with Max on Wednesday on Bet Rivers. I said the Thunder are getting much more out of their fouls than the Spurs are getting out of their fouls, if that makes any sense. There's been hard fouling by Hartenstein and Wemby. Wemby's getting worn down. And the Spurs are not really going after these guys like they should. And for the first time last night, they showed a little aggressiveness, went after SGA, roughed up the guys a little bit. And I'm hoping that, just like in the Super Bowl, where they don't call many holding penalties, I'm hoping Game 7, they just let them play, and we don't have to look at Tony Brothers or Scott Foster, but I'm sure we'll get one of them. I just want them to let them play and just let the chips fall where they may. It's the two best teams in the league, and let's see what happens.
Well, our theories sort of correlate because history has told us, okay, what's different about the postseason, about the in the regular season? Well, defensive intensity. I mean, we know that, okay, but also the officiating, and it is a more physical game. And when the Bulls finally got over the Pistons, what was the biggest thing they had to get over? The physicality of the Pistons, and they knew what it takes. So maybe the Spurs are learning on as we speak about that. No, you got to be physical with your fouls. Get a little mileage out of your fouls like you're talking about.
Yeah, I'll say one other thing, too, is if you look at the line movement, and I know it hasn't mattered, the spread hasn't come into play in any of the games, but Game 1, the line was open at 7, went to 6.5. Game 2, 6.5, went to 6. Game 3, it opened at 5.5, went to, Game 5 opened at 5.5. Went all the way down to 3.5. Last night opened at 4.5. We're already down to 3.5. So the movement has come in on the Spurs on every game. They've only covered one of the road games, but I just feel like just the way that OKC looked, they kind of had that like deer in the headlight look a little bit last night. Like, wow, we're not getting to the line. We're just not getting the easy shots. And I know, who knows? Maybe it just comes down to, like we say, college basketball.
I jumped on the Spurs. I've been on the Spurs in games after game 1, games 2 through 6, every one of them. I am not on the Spurs tomorrow when they go back to OKC. I am not. There is no way. I mean, what's he going to do? He's going to go out there. That's nice he knocked him down last night, but, man, get down in the paint. They want, why are they beating you up? To get you out of there. That's where you're more impactful. And it's had these spots where he just hasn't been impactful as he could, and that's by choice. And that's by electing, not to take some of the physical beating that he's taking. So I'm on OKC tomorrow. I was on the Spurs last night. I'll be on OKC tomorrow.
I'll say one more thing, and I pointed it out a couple times this week, and I don't understand why they do it. In the non-Wemby minutes, they're running at a frenetic pace, shooting crazy threes with like 12 seconds on the shot clock, which makes absolutely no sense to me. If I'm Mitch Johnson, I spread the floor, I waste as much time out of that shot clock as possible, try to get one good shot at the end of the shot clock, because running up and down the floor and shooting the ball with 12 seconds on the shot clock makes absolutely no sense when you're trying to get Wemby back on the court, because obviously they're such a better team when he's out there. So that's just one thing to look at. You got to hope they don't. I think when Wemby comes out and hits 2 of his first 3 threes, or 3, he would have hit 3 last night. He's always going to keep shooting them. That could be a detriment, but hey, if they're going in, you got to be happy they're going in. I'm in a good spot.
Okay. I hear the knocking. I hear the knocking in the background. I hear the knocking. Housekeeping coming to help you move to bed where you can feel the air condition. So,
All right, go Liberty. We'll talk to you in Saratoga next week.
Safe travels, my friend. Yes, indeed. Enjoy yourself up in God's country up in Saratoga. Guys. Yes, indeed. Friend Chris Massaro on his way from Boston to Saratoga. Is that double play? They gave him a double play there, Charlie. First and second, nobody out. This is Liberty.
That's on
so
your
Liberty.
computer,
Liberty's on top of Boston College, 2-0. They in the top of the second. First and second, nobody out. Yeah, he touched. Yeah, he sure did. That's a 4 unassisted 3 double play. So that'll change things. You don't want to bunt. First and second, nobody out. There you go. Don't forget our friends. I'm sorry, Wake Forest got 1.
Yeah, Wake Forest with 3 hard hit balls in the first inning off Jackson Jelkin, but the Kentucky Wildcats get a double play to end the inning with just 1 run scoring. So 1-0, and Kentucky leads off the second with a base hit.
All right. And our friends at Legacy Title, Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings, 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional service. Our great team at Legacy Title will execute your deal seamlessly. Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Mariana Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody choose but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, 296-0060. Max is back, but Chris said he's not early calling any golfers this week. So
you're pretty good, especially if you got J.J. Spawn. Tennessee and East Carolina scoreless going to the third. Live at Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Otten Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Jimmy, Charlie, and Troy. 3 best buddies sitting around talking sports bets. Let's welcome in Troy Macker from Bet Rivers.
Troy, you back off the beach. You enjoy your Memorial Day holiday.
Well, I'm still drying off. It was wet up here in the Mid-Atlantic for about 6 days straight, and now the sun's out. But I've been waterlogged since about last Thursday.
Man, join the club. It has been the entire country, including here down in the South, where it has been very, very wet. I guess you guys just paid out a bunch of bets, huh? The public just cleaned out on that Sinner upset in the French Open, huh?
Well, we ended up paying out more on that match than typical Sinner matches. Yes, when he wins, we do pay out a good bit. But the problem is unless you're in the weeds tennis better, the baseline odds on his matches are not very welcoming. Now, he was playing a far better opponent than he was in the first round. But tennis, especially 5-set majors and hot events where the temperature is hot and they have to take breaks makes it better for live in-match betting. And so, we had plenty of people get on his opponent, Cerundolo, 55-1, 45-1, a bunch of people around 36-1. Not at our book, but I saw people mentioning that, the odds got as long as 1,000-1 when Sinner was up 2-0. So you don't need to bet a lot for that liability to come into play just because, the odds are so long. But that's also, he's the best player in the world. It's very surprising, and it changes things up going forward. But, yeah, that was a very, very shocking result on Tuesday. If he went out because of heat, you get it, but not in the second round.
Yeah, he said he was sick. He said that the heat was is not as big of a factor as he thought, but he's got a history of cramping. So I mean, whether it's the Australian Open, whether it's the epic French Open final last year, he got through that and had multiple match points. But there's a point in the third set where he was going. Geez, you can't beat somebody in tennis worse than he was beating a guy. I mean, the most he had was two games per set. It was 5-1 in the third. So before he started cramping up, I mean, Cincinnati, he cramped up. So we see that maybe he just had a little bit too. Remember last year he had a little suspension. I was in Monte Carlo last year for that one. He was not. He did not participate because he was serving his suspension. So maybe he wanted to play more of them. Maybe he wanted to fine tune his play because he wanted to. Once Alcaraz announced that he was out of the French Open. He wanted to make sure he was tuned up. He won every one. He won easily. I don't know, but he's got his team requested the noon local start because they felt it was not quite as hot as it gets deeper into the afternoon in Paris. But yesterday was the hottest day in Paris in 100 years. So it's unseasonably warm in Paris. But Patrick McEnroe and Jim Courier was very, very critical of the chair and how they handled it. McEnroe had a little bit different approach, saying, man, that the heat is becoming more of a factor in Australia, in the U.S. Open, and now at the French. And, man, rarely do you see people in the French Open crowd in tank tops, and you see more fans than you do pullovers in the crowd right now. But 6-day heat wave in Paris, and they got Yannick Sinner. The reason I ask is because I got burned on this, and once Alcaraz was out, I just tied some Sinner to win French with just a random baseball game here, random this, that. And I had about 4 parlays closing out just because I'm trying to fudge a little bit and, just get a little bit better juice on it. You guys didn't have a bunch of those that went down yesterday?
Yeah, no, we did. A lot of the futures. And frankly, we don't take a ton of futures pre-tournament because you really, sometimes the top 2 seeds are just so heavily weighted with Alcaraz and Sinner. And the interesting thing I've read is that he's going to become unbettable on the futures at Wimbledon because Alcaraz has already said he's not playing Wimbledon, and Sinner, even with the second round upset here, is still going to be short odds. It's going to be at least minus 275. You can't bet that. Last year at Wimbledon, they were unseasonably warm, even for July standards. In the UK, it was incredibly hot there. So, it's a very interesting angle. But, it's funny. I lost my live. I popped into the match and placed a bet because I saw someone tweet out that Yannick Sinner is at plus money. And, yeah, he's fading fast. But anytime you can get him who opens matches minus 10,000 at plus 150, I just need him to win a couple games. Now, he didn't. But that's just how surprising it was. So even though we had people who bet on the side of the underdog and picked up huge wins, there's people like myself who are like, it doesn't matter the circumstance. If I can get the best player in the world at plus money when he is never, ever plus money to win outright, I'll take it, and then I'll take the L on my way out.
We will see. I've been to Wimbledon also, and it's usually in the 70s when they play that. But I don't know, man. They're getting these little heat waves everywhere. And guess what? Next week for the second week of the tournament in Paris, it's supposed to be back in the 70s. So I mean, we will see. But it got the number one player, and that's impactful. No doubt. I think he will not play every prep match going in. I think he'll be a little bit more selective than he was. I think there was a little carryover effect from all those prep tournaments that he participated in this time. We ask this each and every year, but it's a low-volume betting sport, but it's very popular down here in the South, and that is the NCAA baseball tournament. It's underway now. We've got about 4 games underway. Wake Forest is up 1-0, Liberty up 2-0, no score. Tennessee and East Carolina in the bottom of the third there. Rare pitching duel in Chapel Hill.
Sure, Georgia Tech got the 2 runs back, by the way.
They did okay.
Yeah.
They're gonna
take long.
They're gonna be fine. They're gonna be fine. Is your response usually, Troy, is that, well, is it picked up a little bit? It has, but it's at a snail's pace. It's just slow. Is the volume, the handle increasing from year to year in college baseball?
Ever so slightly.
Gotcha.
Now, it's a little bit down thus far, at least when I look at just the futures market. And I think that is specifically because, and I don't want to rub salt on the wound, but the state that produces the largest percentage of college baseball bets is obviously your state, Louisiana, and the team that garners the most tickets across the board and most money in all of the states, probably being led by Louisiana, is LSU. LSU not being in the tournament, I think, has made this less desirable from the betting public in our highly concentrated market. There's still some dabbles here or there, and I think once you see the games start, we will see an uptick because there's going to be one basketball game on this weekend, maybe one hockey game on. There's like the Champions League final, but it's a light weekend for sports. Dinner's out, so people don't have a lot of name recognition there. So my hope is that the game betting and the live betting, which is increased in volume a little bit, will go up because it is one of my favorite events of the calendar. I love a tournament. I love a college tournament, and it's the regional weekend usually delivers.
Is that foul or fair for Liberty? That's foul. Okay, so 2-0 in the top of the third. See, Charlie Johnson. I mean, so we think that television ratings and handle in sports books correlate.
Sure.
Sales of Jell-O shots and
LSU. Jell-O futures are down.
Yeah. They'll take the under on the Jell-O shots at Rocco's in Omaha this year, Troy. So how about that? Number was, they'd love to bet your team, and when they're down. So preseason number 2 this year.
The guy that owns Rocco's, he had this whole wing that he was planning for his house. He had the architects out there and everything. LSU got knocked out. Call it in, guys.
Oh, he was expanding?
He's going to put a whole new wing on his house. Nope, guys, pull it in for another year. LSU's not coming.
Who you got tomorrow? Thunder 3.5 at home. Troy, who you like?
Yeah, I like the Spurs last night to win and force a Game 7. I like the home team, and so I'll take the home team with 3.5 again. I think the Thunder win in 7 games. Probably due in large part to the work at the foul line. I'm hoping it is a lot like Game 1, and not like Game 4 or 6. If we get a Game 1, I don't care what happens because that was magical. We get a double overtime. Wemby scores 40. It doesn't matter the result. I think I would like to see the Spurs play the Knicks more. I think the Thunder, I say this all the time, they're a very good team. They're obviously 2-time MVP, reigning champs. They're just kind of boring. I don't really enjoy watching them. I like watching Wemby, and the Knicks are the best story going. So I do want the Spurs to play the Knicks, but I think the Thunder win, and I'd take the Thunder straight up, and I'd probably take the Thunder minus 3.5.
Advanced line for Game 1. Thunder would be 6.5 over the Knicks, and the Spurs would be 4.5 over the Knicks. We're looking at the 270, 280 in the series price for the Thunder, and about 250 for the Spurs. So Thunder a little bit higher point spread value there. It's also interesting to see, the before the season started, the Knicks were plus 750 to win it all. When the playoffs started, they were 22-1. So their regular season was a disappointment. That's why the Celtics coach won the regular season award for Coach of the Year. They lost, including that prestigious NBA Cup or whatever in Las Vegas. But no, they lost a little bit. Now they've picked up a lot. Well, they've advanced also, but still, it's just tricky how Are you getting value because the Knicks are they've gone through some weak competition? They hadn't beaten a team like they beat last year. I mean, the Celtics last year are better than any of the teams they beat in the playoffs this year. So, are they just beating them so bad? Are they that good where the sports books are slow? Where you're getting some value on the Knicks, Troy?
Well, I think the latter, yes, but also I think them beating the brakes off the Cavs and the 76ers is kind of leaning to the sports book favor, where it might be inflating it. Back to your previous point of the teams they played haven't been very good, and so if they're beating them, they can leave a juicier number out there. And now that the Knicks are comfortably in, we've had a week to celebrate the Knicks being back in the spotlight. People are jumping on them for a juicier number, when in reality it probably should be, a little bit less than that, or a little bit longer than that. Excuse me, because the Spurs and the Thunder, I think, are better than them by a decent margin. I wonder how they're going to stop Wemby, and the Thunder are just complete package. So I think it could potentially be playing into the sportsbook hand that the Knicks did their business as well as they did.
Follow Troy on Twitter at Troy Macher. That's Machir. Glad to have you back, Troy. Enjoy the weekend. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Don't forget our friends at Total Maintenance. I mean, listen, it's hot now. It was getting mid-90s today. It's supposed to get mid-90s. I think it is. It's steamy. It's hot. It's never a good time when your air conditioner goes down. But if you haven't gotten that thing serviced in the springtime, like we asked you from Total Maintenance, and you can see it struggling a little bit, you might have to get it called. Well, if it breaks down, you know who you got to call at 480-1000. But it's never a convenient time, but it's hot in the summertime. It makes it that much worse. But service today, every day. You call today, you get service today. When you call 480-1000, you'll never sleep hot if you call 480-1000. One of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC and heating companies. They've been around since 1980. Our buddy Lucas Ragusa does a wonderful job. 480-1000. If it's struggling, get it looked at now. And, well, if it breaks down, you know who to call. Total Maintenance, 480-1000.
Full update when we come back live at Rufino's. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. New Handycast up, final one of the season. And YouTube brought to you by Supreme Rice, supporting our Louisiana farmers since the 1930s, celebrating 90 years in business here in 2026. Go to SupremeRice.com. 4 games underway. Illinois-Chicago took an early 2-0 lead against Georgia Tech, but the Ramblin' Wreck has scored 3. They're still batting in the bottom of the second inning, so they lead it 3-2. Tennessee and East Carolina are scoreless in the top of the 4th inning. Ryan Towers, the ace for East Carolina, has gotten through the first 3 innings with only 30 pitches, doing a very efficient job. East Carolina batting with 1 on and 2 out in the top of the 4th.
Josh Towers' kid.
Yeah, and he's just been real efficient. I think only 1 strikeout, but 30 pitches in 3 innings in an NCAA. That's good anytime, but in a regional, that's just great.
The Tennessee back, the kid that they pitched down, with the 5 ERA to save the guy that he had like 15 strikeouts. Who was that against, Charlie, late in the season?
It was
Tennessee.
Against,
it was a good team.
Yeah,
was it Texas?
It was against Texas. It was.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, I mean, struck out 15 against Texas. Like, so they saving him, and that's why North Carolina's whining. We talk about strategy, pitch down or pitch down. When we talk about strategy and debate it, discuss it, get in the mind of your opponent. North Carolina is not happy about Tennessee not pitching, burning their ace in this game. So we will see what happens. But man, the lefty for Tennessee is. He's 1 out away here from putting up 4 zeros.
Evan Blanco has been a weekend starter for them all year.
But his ERA's 5. He's been very average. You know
what park he pitches into.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's a good point. Absolutely.
Wake Forest leads 1-0 against Kentucky. That game is in the top of the
Could
third.
have had more.
Yeah, they had 3 hard hit balls for base hits in the first inning, and then they hit into a double play to end it. Jelkin got him 1-2-3 in the second. Maybe settling in a little bit here. He's got the first 2 outs in the third. Wake Forest leads that one 1-0. And Liberty with 3
they got a reversal.
Oh, where?
Yeah, at Liberty, Boston College. Liberty, Boston College. They called him safe. Would give him a first and third 2-out situation, but they've reversed the call. So Boston College comes to bat down 2-0.
All right, Liberty got 3 consecutive base hits after a hit batter in the first inning to get those 2 runs. We got 5 games starting at the top of the hour. These are all 1 seeds and host sites that are going in their first game. And when you are the host site, we know this here. You can play. That's one of them. You can play the first game or the second game. It varies.
So you have the choice?
You have the choice for game one only.
Okay.
You have the choice, and a lot of these teams they want to play game one for a couple reasons. Number one, they feel like they can fill the park and maybe get some more people in for the second game that'll stick around. But also, you got a longer time off between you playing your second game.
A little bit more recovery time for your arms.
That's right. So Auburn and Milwaukee, Texas Holy Cross, Florida Rider, Southern Miss Little Rock, and Kansas Northeastern all starting here at the top of the hour for the NCAA baseball tournament. So that's what's going on here. We are at Rufino's on Highland Road. Come by and see us for lunch. Enjoy.
Barry's here. Mr. Curtis is here. Liv's here.
Tell me about the crawfish.
Howard's
again,
here.
The crawfish again. The crawfish tails.
Bang Bang Crawfish.
Bang Bang Crawfish, John.
Yes.
Looking forward to that as soon
Usually
as the
shrimp,
show
but
is.
we're doing Bang Bang Crawfish.
Bruce Marshall when we return live at Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
He's out there somewhere in the world. Maybe even your local sports book.
Can anybody help us?
Let's bring in Bruce Marshall.
Quick update before we bring Bruce in. Tennessee solo homer to open the bottom of the fourth. They lead East Carolina 1-0. And Florida, we've been waiting on that pitching decision. They have pitched down. They're going to pitch at 3. Russell Sandifer, so they're holding King and Peterson for games 2 and 3 if they win today.
So runs over 12.5 in that
They're
one.
playing Ryder. That game starting right now.
Oklahoma State just announced their starter, Ethan Lund.
Okay, so they are going to pitch down. So
that's coming up against USC Upstate at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, yeah.
All right, so Lund.
5.26 ERA, 5.2
yeah, they're
on
pitching
the season.
down, so they're not.
That's a tough one for them. I think UCF.
Barrett Hudson's
USC
a considerably better pitcher for them this year. With ERA about 3.05. So yeah, that's they had that was a discussion there that they were going to roll the dice. Who's the number 1 seed in that? That's Alabama.
It's Alabama.
Yeah. Oklahoma State's a very fashionable pick, but Upstate's going to have my money in that one. I'm going to have the over in that game as well. Let's bring in Bruce Marshall. Brucey, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
We're doing fantastic, Bruce. You tell me, Bruce, what does this Knicks, what is this Knicks playoff run, this dominance? It hasn't been exactly murderer's row that they've gone through. We are dealing with a little bit of a more tanking than we can remember in the NBA. So were some of the teams' record a little bit inflated that got in their way into postseason? But damn it, I mean, this is not rent-a-wins here. There's still NBA teams that are in the playoffs that they are absolutely destroying. The bully is a term that I know you and I have used over the years. And, man, I mean, what is this? What does this remind you of historically in sports?
In NBA terms, maybe that second Lakers-Shaq-Kobe championship when they only lost that game 1 to the Sixers throughout the playoffs, and they just swept through. But they weren't killing teams quite as bad as the Knicks are now. I think this is just sort of an odd confluence, sort of an outlier season. And the reason I say that is the East was vulnerable this year, and this is how the NBA has sort of cycled, and that's
There's nothing permanent about that. It's just that's the way it's sort of gone. And all the other things we talked about, the team's tanking and all. But unfortunately for the East this year, the elite class, the normal top layer, just wasn't as strong this year. And this is part of why the Knicks have been able to just go out and if one team just all of a sudden catches fire like this, you are facing teams that are not the normal quality of top-tier playoff teams of the past, and just that confluence of factors together has contributed to a lot of these wipeouts here. Having said that, though, I think Cleveland in particular has got to do some self-examination here, because the way the Cavaliers just folded up after that long lead in Game 1, and that was basically it in that series. But you wouldn't be seeing that in the West this year, and you can tell by the finals. We got a Game 7 coming up tomorrow night in the West, which was a stronger conference this year. So I think it's just a confluence of factors. But for a team just rolling through, and the Knicks, it's funny, they actually did lose 2 games to the Hawks right at the in the first 3 of their first round series, and then they caught fire. But I can't remember an NBA team just mowing down the field the way the Knicks have been and destroying them like that. This is quite something. But it's part to do with just the dynamics of this season, which I think is sort of an outlier.
Well, some of it is historical because they're closeout games. It's like the 3 closeout games are like, 100-something points. I remember I was out of town, and so I wasn't watching. I was a little kind of out of my routine. I would look at the first score, and I saw 70-20 or something like that in that Knicks-Hawks game. I'm like, wait, this is in Atlanta too. Isn't the home court supposed to? So the respect factor. Where are we now? Because the respect element for most of this is like, all right, this reminds me of AFL, NFL. We talk about, where the Jets or the Kansas City is going to play, the Colts and the Vikings when they got beat up pretty good in those first 2 Super Bowls by the Packers. The part of it, but part of it is also. It's the only thing I can do, and it's a different level, so it's not fair, but it's the only thing I can remember. And I remember Big Mondays, and we got the Big East, we got the Big Ten, and then 10 o'clock game our time, 8 o'clock your time, Bruce. We're gonna watch UNLV destroy something, laying 28.5 tonight against Pepperdine or against Cal State Fullerton or whoever it is, and we'll have to see in the tournament how good this UNLV team is because they're just destroying. That's the only thing I couldn't. I don't know. These are the things that are coming to mind when I'm trying to wrap my head around this Knicks run.
Wow, that's taking me back a long way. Big West on Big Monday. Well, that used to be kind of a big deal long ago. We're going back over 30 years, but you're right. But I do think it's just where the roulette wheel is spinning this year. And there's people who are saying now, nothing's permanent in the NBA. And it reminds me sort of the Super Bowl trend in the 80s and the mid-90s was, the NFC is just so dominant. They're always what's going to happen? They've got to change something to make the AFC teams. And just the way the roulette wheel was spinning then, and the 49ers were the best team, and the NFC kept winning to the point where the biggest point spread of the entire 94 season was the Super Bowl at the end of that season because the NFC had been destroying the AFC in the Super Bowl so much. That was the 49er Charger. But that flipped immediately because there's nothing structural about this that suggests all the power is supposed to be in the West and the East isn't. This is just the way the roulette wheel has spun this year. And the Knicks, you're right. I mean, this is, it's sort of like Tom Osborne's Nebraska in the basketball version when they won the national title like in '95. Killing everybody in the football field. But it's sort of what the Knicks have been doing here. But it's cyclical. This year, it's not going to be like that next year. But right now, that's what we're looking at. That's the reality of the moment.
The first team I went and looked up when they threw this stat out about the Knicks, it was one of my favorite teams of all time, was the '83 Sixers. The Fofo, Moses Malone, and they lost one game in that run, and their average margin of victory was about 8. in that.
Wow.
There were some 2 and 3 point games. They even lost one game to the Jack Sikma, Sidney Moncrief Bucks. And they beat the Lakers 4 straight, but they beat them by 6. They beat them by 10. They beat them by 7. I think one game got into double figures. But that team, stocked with Hall of Famers, did not blow teams out with the frequency that these Knicks have. And they won a championship.
How many hollow wins between the Sixers, the Hawks, and the Cavaliers against teams that are tanking? This is what it is. It's to the extreme where they're making rules about it now to try and avoid it.
Right.
A little bit later than a little bit late to the game, but still later better than never. The $1 million question, Bruce. They're going to be underdogs. Home court advantage rather, to either the Thunder or the Spurs. The Spurs would be a little bit less underdog, but substantial. Game 1, to put it into perspective, Thunder right now 6.5 over the Knicks. The Spurs will be 4.5 over the Knicks. Will the Knicks be competitive in the finals?
Yes, I think they will for sure. They're the exception this year out of the East, and it's funny you mentioned those Sixers in '83. Every game of the finals against the Lakers, they trailed at halftime, and then they ended up winning. So that goes to Charlie's point about those games were kind of close. Before Kareem, when he was still Big Lou, the last year he was Big Lou in '71, the Bucks, I think, only lost 2 games that playoff season, but they kind of ran roughshod through the field too. But as far as the Knicks go, no, they can compete, and I think, there's a lot of people I talk to think, they've got a real chance in the finals, so this will be kind of interesting. The Knicks are rubbing their hands in glee, I think, that these two teams, the Thunder and Spurs, are going at war like this. They're going to have a 7-game war. Now it'll be 4 days until the final until the finals begin. So a little time to rest and recuperate. And we have seen in sports here where the rest, sometimes the Knicks got flat in Game 1 of the Cavs series because they had that long break before. So I'm not sure how much that will help in Game 1, but I do think the Knicks will be competitive in the final, and I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes a real dogfight, whether it's the Thunder or Spurs against New York.
I'm sure Mike Brown and the Knicks are trying to do some things differently in this 9-day layoff as opposed to the 9-day layoff before the Cavs, because they're not getting away with another 40 minutes like they started in Game 1 in the Cavaliers. Yep. And maybe the way they blew that 22-point lead in the last 8 minutes of the game in overtime against the Knicks, that had a residual effect on the Cavaliers. But you can't deny that was an outlier for the Knicks in their level of play in that series, right, where that rust was real for the first 40 minutes. They were bad in the first 40 minutes of Game 1. So I'm sure whatever preparation, maybe simulated games, whatever it is, they're going to try and do whatever they can. But nothing can simulate actual game time, and it's about. Charlie brought this to my attention, but that. When you watch that ball movement and just how it's moving, it's not just this. Let's ISO Brunson and let him back down his guy and run that that ISO play. No, there's more involved with it, and that's just affected in a layoff in that 9-day layoff. So
this is actually Jim Dolan came under a lot of criticism for moving Thibodeau out, but. One of his reasons was that he thought Thibodeau drove the team so hard they were never really peaking right at the end there. And the Indiana series last year, the team was just worn out physically. Now everybody's going to be at this stage of the season, but Brown is doesn't quite, more of a tactical. He doesn't quite drive them as hard, physically as Thibodeau did. And this is a grind, and the Knicks look awfully fresh here now. I tell you what, I give Brown a lot of credit. He's got guys. I've never seen Cat play defense like he's playing now, and that sort of permeates the whole thing. And he made a subtle adjustment in the Atlanta series when it looked like they were in some trouble. And he thought, let's try to run, instead of just running everything through Brunson every time we come down, let's try to run the offense through Cat sometimes, and let's just spread the floor out differently, and let's see how Atlanta reacts to that. Atlanta didn't. And this all of a sudden opened up a lot more versatility for the Knicks offense. And it animated Cat to the point where he's playing on both ends of the floor. And I think that's been the biggest surprise to me. He has really stepped it up in these playoffs.
That's what I've struggled with. And that's the start with example A is with Karl Anthony Towns. Because I have such a large sample size of him, with these just dumb fouls 40 feet from the basket, him screaming at the official when he clearly fouled the guy 40 feet from the basket with no, and just, piling up these fouls. I've seen it. I've seen a large sample size of zero commitment on the defensive end. I've seen such a large sample size of him just hanging on the perimeter where, man, dude, yeah, that's nice you can add that element to your game, but, man, get down low. And you're such a great free throw shooter. Get to the line a lot more. He is a smarter player, period. And so that's the thing I've struggled with because I don't have as large of a sample size of him, his basketball IQ being such improved.
This goes back to Mike Brown, I think, and he's unlocked something. It's a different Cat in the playoffs here, and I circle it back to Brown. So that's the other kind of neat. A lot of people in the NBA like Mike Brown. I've met him. I mean, he's a very personable guy, and you could talk basketball with him for hours. And he looks like he's finally in a situation where this might all work. Yeah. And I think the Cat example is a great one, and that comes down to him. If Thibodeau is still there, I don't think anything would have been different from last year for the Knicks. I think they probably would have stumbled. But the other thing, though, about the East, remember, last year's champion was Indiana, and they got wiped out by injuries before the season even started. So it was not the same East this year. It won't be next year either. I think it'll be a lot tougher, and Boston should be a little bit more competitive and so forth. But Detroit will be another year mature. But right now, they are pushing every right button.
Yeah, and the other thing I've struggled with, too, I've got a much larger sample size of sporting accomplishments out of New York City being way overrated. So, I mean, they might finally have something here. Who you got in tomorrow night's Game 7? 3.5, home team, Oklahoma City favored.
Well, the recent pattern of this series, the home court is held in there, and I think a few things have to happen. Oklahoma City, to get to the free throw line is going to be the most important thing. I think SGA only had, 3 free throws last night for 17 the game before. That's sort of the key for them. It's getting into the bonus early. And this is where I know Jalen Williams came off the bench and played a little bit last night, but the value of him and the value of A.J. Mitchell when they're on the floor is they get into the paint, they draw fouls, and the Thunder gets into the bonus a little bit earlier because of that, and oftentimes the beneficiary of that is SGA, and he goes to the free throw line a lot, and that is normally a bonus for Oklahoma City. If that's not happening, they could be in some trouble, and I'm not sure the fact reintroducing Jalen Williams back in, the J-L-E-N Williams back in, I mean, he hadn't been playing much, and now you're trying to fit him back in, and the chemistry's a little off. I'm not sure this home court thing is going to hold up. And Oklahoma City it seems like it's saving its best efforts for these last few games, and they haven't even cared about the road losses. They've been destroyed the last 2 road games. It's like they got their one road win in Game 3, and that was then just focus on effort in a couple of the home games left, and they can win the series. I'm not sure that works. And the Hardenstein thing on Wemby requires the referees to keep to sort of let the game go. At its best, Hardenstein keeps Wemby out of the paint. He forces him up there by the elbows, and that's too far out for Wemby to drive. And in that case, in the games the Thunder has won, where Wemby has struggled, Wemby becomes sort of a poor man's Kevin Durant, just out there shooting 3-pointers. But if he can get down low, and Hartenstein's not able to bully him that much, or he'll get called for fouls, advantage San Antonio. I kind of think the Spurs are going to win. They have beaten these guys, 7-4 now this season, 7 of 11. They've won up here at the Paycom Center, as they call it now. I kind of think San Antonio gets them. We didn't, although I might do one more over. I know we didn't get an over last night, but that's generally been the trend since the second round. I think it's 23-11 now. So I might look at an over in Game 7 as well.
All right, Brucey. We appreciate it, man. Great stuff as always. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
Have a good week, boys. Thank you.
All right. West Virginia busting through here. Creating some separation between themselves.
Wake Forest.
And I'm sorry, Wake Forest against Kentucky.
In West Virginia,
Yeah.
Two-run homer has opened up.
And they followed it up with, a couple of base runners as well. So the first four batters for Wake Forest have reached, and that's going to be a foul ball. That was going to be a bunt single.
The stunner right now, Jim.
Auburn, huh?
Yeah, Milwaukee, who has a losing record and an RPI in the 230s. LSU opened the season with 3 wins against them at Alex Box Stadium. Comes out single, 3-run homer. It's 4-0.
You criticize Jay Johnson's non-conference schedule?
Yeah, that was me.
No, me too.
No, I was joking. I know it was you.
Yeah.
And Auburn threw Jake Marciano. Auburn has 4 pitchers in the top 7 in ERA in the league.
Threw a quality guy.
And they threw the guy who's been throwing Thursdays and Fridays for him a lot this year. And Milwaukee hit him. 5 hits and 4 runs in the top of the first. Wow. They go in the bottom half, 4-0. Well, a long way to go, obviously, but that's quite the shock because Auburn did not. If you're thinking, they pitched down, they pitched some button. No, they pitched. They definitely pitched one of their guys. Where's the offense for the SEC teams? Kentucky's got
Auburn's got to come to bat.
I was moving to the other ones. Kentucky's got 1 hit.
Well, no, Tennessee, Wake Forest starter is.
Tennessee's got 3 hits through 5 innings. Actually, they're still batting in the bottom of the 5th. It's 1-1. East Carolina got the run back on a 2-out single to tie that game. At
second time through the lineup, they're getting a little bit better cuts on towers for East Carolina, and actually Godwin sent his pitching coach out right now. So. Leadoff double and a 1-0 count. So just second time through the lineup, a little bit tougher for the East Carolina starter.
And you weren't worried about Georgia Tech, were you, when they fell behind 2-0?
I got Georgia Tech -7.5, and I've got Georgia Tech over 13.5, and I'm glad that UIC scored 2.
Well, they scored 2, and Georgia Tech has now scored 8.
Yes,
in the top of the 4th. I said 17-2. What's going to be the final in that one? I'm halfway there, close to halfway there on Georgia Tech. Of course, I said Auburn is one of my favorite teams in this tournament. They're down 4-0. So
no, and we got some value on that. We got down at 22-1 to win it all because based on, you could get 20. You could get 20-1 on a national seed.
Yeah.
And so they followed through. They got the 4 national seed comfortably. So we got some work to do in Auburn.
Florida got an early 1-0 lead against Rider. We'll get you up to date on everything that's going on when we come back live at lunch here from Rufino's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Odd and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we return here at Rufino's. We're brought to you by the Thibodeau Store, the Pierre Part Store, also open in La Rose and Lockport. You're building projects this summer. Get your lumber delivered out of Pierre Part or out of Lockport from the Thibodeau Store. Get some expert advice if you're doing these things yourself to save your time and money on supplies and on your techniques. Thibodeau Store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau, also has tons of fishing gear if you're going down to the coast angling this summer. Stop by the Thibodeau Store. Tons of patio furniture, outdoor cooking equipment, poolside furniture. Again, you go to thethibodeaustore.com. You'll get to all 4 sites in one. The Thibodeau Store, thethibodeaustore.com. All right, here's what's going on in college baseball. Georgia Tech has opened up now 12-2 on Illinois Chicago. They should cruise there. Tennessee and East Carolina tied at 1. That game's going to the bottom of the 5th inning. That's at Chapel Hill. Wake Forest 3-0 on Kentucky. That game's moving to the top of the 5th inning. Kentucky's got only 1 hit so far through the first 4 innings. Liberty got 2 in the first inning, but have not added to that, and that remains the score 2-0 against Boston College in the 4th. Milwaukee with the big shocker so far, 4 runs in the top of the first against Auburn, including a 3-run homer. Texas 1-0 on Holy Cross in the second. Florida 1-0 on Rider in the second. And Northeastern and Kansas, no score. They go to the second inning. Southern Miss and Little Rock, no score. They go to the second inning. Max, you got a couple of picks you like in some of the games coming up.
Yeah, so 1 o'clock, we sort of mentioned Ethan Lund pitching for Oklahoma State, so that is not their ace. They are pitching down against USC Upstate. Upstate going with Brent Stukes, 5.42 ERA, so slightly worse, but they can hit the ball a little bit, so I think that's maybe a little bit of value on USC Upstate. We're getting them right now at Bally's and the Queen at plus 200 against Oklahoma State. Jimmy, you like runs in this Mississippi State Lipscomb game.
Yes, pitching down.
Mississippi State
very,
pitching down.
very strong lineup. Yeah,
Duke
very
Stone
much so.
going to get the start.
He's been at number 2, but he's faded a little bit in the last few weeks.
Another one.
But he's not Valinkas.
No, he's not. No.
Okay, he's not Valinkas.
No, they were actually thinking about holding Stone.
You know,
too,
Florida, the
their
same
other guy.
thing. I got Florida. I know they've scratched across one run. I don't know what else, but you know, when the teams that are pitching down that have very good lineup that are hot.
Yep.
You know, State is not exactly hot, but as the lineup, I mean, it went to College Station. It was.
Yeah, that's a good.
They scored like 10.
That's a good offensive team.
Yeah,
And
very
in
very
that
good
park,
lineup.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
South Dakota State and Nebraska playing out there in Lincoln. We're expecting the wind blow in a little bit in that one, so maybe you look for the under. It might be a bit of a pitcher-friendly ballpark later today.
Real quick, Nebraska is throwing their ace. South Dakota State is 24-31. Nebraska opted not to pitch down.
Coastal Carolina is going with their third starter against Northern Illinois, who has not announced their starter. Coastal, dealing with some question marks. Is their coach going to leave for the South Carolina job? I know that's been a bit of a discussion throughout the last month or so. But Ross Norman, the 6.15 ERA, getting the start for the Chanticleers. That's an interesting one to me. Northern Illinois catching plus 200 as well.
More problems on the Plains. So a leadoff, back-to-back doubles to start the top of the second inning. Have plated another run. It's
wow.
5-0, nobody out. Milwaukee batting, top of the second inning, runner at second, nobody out.
And then the Citadel is plus 145 against Oklahoma. Mercurius getting the start, LJ Mercurius for Oklahoma. But Andrew Buffkin, clearly the best starter for the Citadel, 2.62 ERA for them. So I kind of like the value in the underdog there.
LJ's big brother or little brother?
That's big brother.
That's big brother?
LJ's big brother. His problem is the walks. If he's got excellent stuff, he's got strikeout, swing and miss stuff, but his problem has been walks. And they even put an opener in front of him in a couple of weeks in May, just to kind of calm him down. So you'll know early if his command is there, he's really good, but that command has been all over the place this year. I am shocked that Milwaukee is hitting Marciano like that. This is a cat with a 2.64 ERA as the lead pitcher in the SEC.
This is almost a Brett Laxton 93 type of deal. Get him out while he can still come back and have something else. And he's keeping them in the game. So they had a mound visit, but they're staying in the game. But he obviously does. I mean, these are not bloopers. These are not CNI singles. These are shots.
5-0 now. You remember the game?
Well, I know what the score is, Charlie, but I'm talking about these are ropes to the galley, man.
No, I wanted to make a point about the fact that they bombs and hard hit balls. You remember the game where Aaron Nola fell behind 5-0 against Sam Houston? This was the 14 regional, I believe, here. All the runs were unearned.
Okay.
And Nola hung in the game, and he battled into the sixth and gave LSU a chance to claw back with the bats.
In a regional, and I make a bad comparison maybe to Omaha because, Laxton, that was on a Sunday night game, and he came back on a Saturday. Okay. And he shoved it down Wichita State because everybody else on LSU's staff was spent. I mean, Soraka was so spent, he fell down trying to fill the bunt.
I remember
he was exhausted.
Yeah.
And so, and luckily enough, and they were considerable underdogs. Decent underdogs because Wichita State they went through undefeated on their side. Wyckoff was rested. Everything was set up for him, and then Laxton just shoved it down their throat. But he didn't throw as much because he got hit so hard and he got knocked out early against A&M.
Now this is a shorter turnaround, but Auburn, if this holds, and we're very, very early in this game, they've got enough pitching to come through the losers bracket. They're one of the teams that's got a deep enough staff.
Here we go. So they bunt.
Who are you talking about now?
Talking about Milwaukee.
Okay.
At Auburn.
All right.
They bunt the ball. It's kind of flared up. He comes off the mound. He's ready to try. It's a bunt single. So he's coming up. So now first and third, nobody out. They got to get him out.
And they got the bullpen working.
I think they finally are.
Yeah, Thompson's going to down
they
the
just a second trip and second batters. Yeah,
that's a shot. 7 hits, 5 runs, all earned in an inning. And how many outs in the? What is
0?
Okay, so 1 inning plus. Wow, didn't see that one coming. Did not see that one coming. We're here at Rufino's on Highland Road. Our home here for the last 15 years on Fridays. I'm looking forward to the Bang Bang crawfish.
Just get you some Bang Crawfish, Charlie.
Barry's not going to serve me. He's not going to serve me before the show's over.
Yes, you can. Now you don't eat on the air. I mean, you eat on the air so much that Gordy used to run little sound bites of you eating on the air.
Yeah, that was me. that might have been you.
Quit eating, Jimmy.
Yes. Well, live at Rufino's.
Gordy's so distinguished now. He's getting all these awards and everything. When he was back to like doing, production trolling on us and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's that guy.
Highfalutin now. Highfalutin. Live at Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5. Hey, Kentucky, maybe get on the board here. Hustle up. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we're also brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors. When it comes to retirement, your family's plan is unique. So talk to Phil Fontenot and his staff. They're going to answer all your questions because the last thing you want in retirement is any surprises. When are you planning to retire? What do you need to retire? What type of lifestyle are you going to lead? What is your age? What is your income level? All of those things factor in. They're going to make you comfortable with a plan, make you feel real good about where you're going. It's done that for us. We're so pleased with the results that we've gotten with Coastal Capital Advisors. Set up an appointment. Go to coastalcapitaladv.com. Coastalcapitaladv.com. Member FINRA, SIPC. Do I get credit if Georgia Tech's up 17-2 at any point in the game? It's 15-2 right now in the fourth. So if they might zoom past 17-2. Not sure we're going to get there. Kentucky got an RBI double. They cut the Wake Forest lead to 3-1. That game was in
that's
the
all.
That's it.
Middle fifth. Yeah.
Middle fifth. Okay. Milwaukee's added another run. Auburn
on a double play though.
Okay, so they get
double
the
play and then they got the next out, so they're out the inning, so they stop the bleeding.
What, Max, are we looking at?
Anywhere from even money to now it's going up to minus 125, minus 130. Auburn in game.
6-run deficit.
All right, here we go. Updates also. 2 on, 2 outs for Southern Miss in the bottom of the second and third, 2 outs as they bat. No score, bottom of the second. Go on yard, bombs away in Lawrence. So the Jayhawks, the number 1 seed at home, they a shot to left center field. Boy, they're going crazy. They're excited to have a regional in Lawrence.
First ever.
In the first ever, and the Greek system is gotten involved. They're all.
I thought school was out.
They're still
came back.
Yeah, it's kind of what they just kind of latched on to him a little bit. But anyway, we got a play at the plate. But it looks like he is safe for East Carolina at home there. The Liberty pitcher still nothing. Bottom of the fifth, 1 out. There's a shot to center field as I speak. As you go. There's a broadcaster's jinx. Bombs away. Yeah. As soon as I was giving the Liberty pitcher credit, straight dead center field solo shot. It's 2-1. So Boston College has got that lead in half.
Trying to see if we can get the best on that tag at the plate with Tennessee and East Carolina.
I think he's safe. Right there.
Yeah, but you got to watch the tag on the front side.
I watched the tag. We're on opposite sides, but I'll take East Carolina on that one. If you make a side bet on that, I'll take it safe. Okay. He's safe.
Let's see what the umpire says.
What was the call? Originally out. The caller was originally out. I'd have to stick with that, I think.
They might, but I will say that they're going to reverse it. But I wish I had the call on the field.
Yeah, it's always
yes,
always more comforting to be on that on the side of the umpires. They're looking at this a long time, man. They're looking at this a long time.
I think he's safe. I don't know if he can if it's clear and obvious that so to speak. So
enough
we'll
to
see.
enough.
We'll see.
To,
that would be a big one
overturn.
because it would be give them the lead, but it would also be still a runner on with nobody out. First batter is up. Terrell is grounded out in the bottom of the second for Auburn. So 1 out, nobody on. It's only second inning, but they have a hole that they have dug. 6-0 Milwaukee over Auburn.
So here's the other thing with Tennessee and East Carolina. Evan Blanco for Tennessee is still in the game. He's at 82 pitches, so he's okay for now.
He's done what they were hoping.
Ryan Towers for East Carolina threw 54 pitches in 4 innings. They made a pitching change. So
surprising.
It is. Towers' ERA is below 3 for the season. You would have thought they got a little bit more out of him. He was pitching well.
Got a ruling.
First 3 innings, he only gave up 10 pitches an inning. And the ruling is that he is out.
Playing umpire.
Okay.
Inconclusive.
So they
been to the gym, that guy.
Yeah, he's got some big ass arms.
Probably
yes.
enjoyed the TV time there.
All right, it's 17-2 Georgia Tech. I got it right.
Yes,
it's only the 4th inning.
Run
right?
rule.
I said 7, and there's no run rule, of course. 17-2 is the score I called. I got it right. 4th.
Yeah.
Georgia
so
they may score some more.
So remind me, they don't do a run rule here in regionals, but in the Women's College World Series, they do a 5-inning run rule. It's a little interesting.
The 5-inning run rule is in softball all year.
Right,
but you're right. But they do it in the College World Series.
I mean,
no, I'm
tell you what, that East Carolina, Tennessee, that's just good baseball all around. So it's a runner at second, single to right. The right fielder comes up clean, fires a strike. Great slide by East Carolina. I think he got in, but it was close. Yep. And a great mitt swipe by the catcher. I mean, it's just good baseball all the way around. It was really good stuff.
We were happy that we were getting these 2 games early. Sometimes you get the mismatches early.
It is a mismatch in Auburn. I mean, they got themselves a hole, man.
8 hits and 6 runs
when LSU was down to Cal State Fullerton, the Brandon Bowe game, 8-0, 9-0.
8-0.
It was like second inning.
Yeah, it was. And Brandon Bowe came in and held a very powerful Cal State Fullerton offense down enough for LSU to come back. I remember Cressy hit a grand slam to straightaway center over the batter's eye by plenty. And that was with the old nuclear bats, but still, I mean, he hit that ball 450
What year was that?
That was in 1998.
Okay, so he hit the one, a mammoth shot when the wind was blowing out at Omaha against USC.
Yeah.
Before it shifted in. Who's 18? 18. What's the story, Max, on this pitcher from Milwaukee? Is he going to – his number is 18, but 3 up, 3 down for Auburn in the second inning. So if this guy is going to give them 5-6 quality innings, I mean, this might be too much for Auburn to come back from.
Let's see. It was Gavin Tice who got the start for the season. His ERA is 5.04.
Okay.
Looking at his last few starts, he did go 8 innings of 1-run ball against Wright State last week in their tournament, but before then had a rough start. Didn't get out of the second inning against Oakland and didn't make it out of the 4th against Youngstown State, gave up 8 runs. So he's off a great start, but that's a little uncharacteristic of him.
Bombs away again in Lawrence. Another one for the Jayhawks. This is a solo shot to straightaway left. So 3-0 Jayhawks in the bottom of the second inning. So Northeastern was one of the more ballyhooed teams coming into the season. Last year, they won a game. They got to the tournament, won 1 game before they were ousted in a regional. Made it back another year. I took a shot at them here. Not a good start for Northeastern, down 3-0.
Jimmy, as good as Northeastern was, you got to give them credit. LSU scheduled them. They played them twice, 1-1.
Played them twice this year?
Earlier this year, that was like one of those Friday, Saturday, Sundays.
I got tremendous egg on my face so far with we're an hour into the postseason, or an hour and a half in with Jay Johnson's non-conference schedule. Well, Milwaukee is just smashing Auburn.
Great teams.
It ended up looking a lot better. Milwaukee got in the tournament. UCF got in the tournament. Northeastern got in the tournament. UL Lafayette, now that's an in-state team. Of course, they're in the tournament, so ended up being a little bit better.
Charlie, remember I was talking about the catcher from Georgia Tech?
Yeah.
Big 456 feet is his blast. They went to the practice field on the football field in downtown Atlanta. Yeah.
I don't think 17-0 is 17-2 is going to hold.
He doesn't get a whole lot of cheap ones. So that was more of a cheap one. There was 2 out, 3-run shot by Georgia Tech that made it 15-2. And there's another shot, the 2-run shot to right field made it 17-2 in the bottom of the 4th inning. So bottom of the 4th, 17-2. They can swing it.
Yeah,
they can swing it.
Milwaukee played 4 games in Q1 this year, lost them all, was not within 6 runs of any of the teams they played in Q1. They were not within 6. They never scored more than 2 runs. In any of they only played 4 Q1 games. They scored 7 runs total in the 4 games. They got 6 runs at Auburn. They only got 1 Q2 win. That was against Duke back in February. I mean, this is one of the more shocking things that I have seen through 2 innings, that Auburn came out and laid this egg.
So Little Rock got out of that jam, 2-on, 2-out situation in Hattiesburg. Still no score, top of the 3rd. They have a runner in scoring position with 2 down as they bat. Still no score, Little Rock and Southern Miss. Of course, it was game 1 last year that Southern Miss got tripped up and put them in too deep of a hole to climb out of against Ivy League representative Columbia. So, and you've got to give credit. We're ready to, beat up on him pretty good. And that was the starter for Boston College. Gave up 2 runs in the 1st inning, but he has settled down. It's still in the 5th, and it's still 2-1. So Liberty does have a runner in scoring position with 1 out in that one. So hit batter up in Morgantown. So Kentucky has a little something going on. No lead off. They'll have a base runner on. So the tie-in run is at the plate with nobody out, top of the 6th, Kentucky
Wake
down.
Forest has made a pitching change here. Lavonis, their starter, through 5 innings, 1 earned run. He did get up to 96 pitches, so this is a new pitcher in for Wake Forest here.
And the reliever for Auburn came in and got, what was it, 1st and 3rd, nobody out, double play and out. So he has now recorded 6 outs and faced 5 batters. That's 3 up, 3 down in the 3rd.
That's
so he's kind of holding the lead.
It's one of their guys. The ERA at 2 out of the bullpen, so they got to use their guys. They want to stay out of the losers bracket.
Don't forget our friends at United Community Bank, the local way to bank big, with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow, including their newest branch. And we got another branch. I got to update my branches, so we're just busy growing, man. Around, I've got an account with my friends at United Community Bank at the location closest to my house at Burbank and Bluebonnet, and so your business is our business. At United Community Bank, we support the hard-working folks behind local business. From initial startup loans to ongoing planning and assessments, United Community Bank can help you the entire way. So our great team of bankers, Prentice Wilkes, Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry. Stop on by at any of our branches and see how we can help your business today. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Bombs away again in Lawrence. This time it's the visiting team. As Northeastern is on the board 3-1.
Live at Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Odd and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, we'll give you one more update before we leave. Tennessee and East Carolina tied at 1 in the top of the 7th. The starter for Tennessee is still in. The starter for East Carolina is not. They are on their first relief pitcher. Georgia Tech 17-3 on Illinois Chicago. That's in the 5th. Wake Forest and Kentucky. It's 3-1 Wake Forest, bottom of the 5th inning. Leonis has been lifted for Wake Forest. They have gone to the bullpen. Jackson Jelkin is still pitching for Kentucky. He has thrown 84 pitches to this point. They may get another inning or so out of him. Boston College, the solo homer, Jimmy told you about before we went to break. They've cut the Liberty lead in half, 2-1 now, bottom of the 6th inning. That's in Athens. The shocker, Milwaukee with 6 runs against Auburn, knocking out Jake Marciano, the Auburn lead starter, 6-0 now in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Auburn bullpen is coming and calm things down here, but the Tigers are still without a hit as they go to the bottom of the 3rd. 6-0 Milwaukee. Texas has got 2. Lead Holy Cross 2-0 in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Longhorns threw their number 3 today. Florida, leading Rider 1-0, bottom of the third inning. Florida also threw their 3 today. Little Rock, was it a home run that got them the 1 run, Jimmy, against Southern Miss?
No. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Ball hit to deep right field at the track, caught. They strand 3, no score.
Oh, and I got 1-0 on this scoreboard.
You got Southern Miss 1-0?
No, I got Little Rock at 1-0.
Okay, maybe I missed a run, but they retired the side on that.
Okay, they left the bases loaded, but 1-0 Little Rock.
Okay.
And Kansas and Northeastern 4-1 Kansas in the bottom of the third inning. We've got 3 homers in that game combined. 2 for Kansas and 1 for Northeastern.
3 at least.
Yeah.
I saw 3-1. Is what I saw. So
okay, so now 4-1, so the ball's jumping in Lawrence.
And the SEC schools got something going. So we talked about Kentucky, the hit batsman to start their 6th inning. Now a walk, so 2 free passes. So the tying runs are on with nobody out there. And Florida already up 1-0. They're batting in the bottom of the third now, 2 on and 1 out for the. And I think that's a Lawson that just got walked on 4 pitches. So now bases loaded for the Gators and only 1 down, the bottom of the third, up 1-0.
Mississippi State starts their run at 1 o'clock. They take on Lipscomb, first game of the Starkville Regional. The other game that starts at 1 o'clock, South Carolina Upstate and Oklahoma State. That's in Tuscaloosa, the first game of the day there. The rest of the SEC teams, Texas A&M takes on Lamar at 3 o'clock. The game's on the SEC Network. Will Davis, former LSU player and coach, the head coach at Lamar through the end of this season, and he's going to Houston. First time he's gotten the Cardinals in the postseason.
They let him coach?
Yeah, they let him coach. There's no Will Davis rule in college baseball.
Ole Miss rule.
Yeah. Georgia against Long Island at 4 o'clock. That's on ESPN Plus. Oklahoma and the Citadel at 4 o'clock. Max, you like the Citadel?
Citadel plus 180. I've seen as well. Oklahoma, I'm curious. I'm just not a big fan of them.
Control problems. Arkansas, the 2 seed in Lawrence. They'll play the second game there. They're scheduled for a 5 o'clock start against Missouri State.
Charlie, it was a home run in Lawrence, so 4 home runs already in the third inning, 4-1. Bottom of the third, Kansas. A solo shot, 2-run shot, and for Northeastern, a solo shot. So 4 home runs already. Leadoff man on for East Carolina is erased with a 4-6-3 double play and a tie score in that one. And a 2-on, 2-out situation here for Auburn as they try and come back with a big hole here, down 6-0 against Milwaukee.
Alabama and Alabama State at 6 o'clock. UL Lafayette and Cincinnati. UL Lafayette throwing Cody Brash, 6th best ERA in the country against the Bearcats. 6 o'clock from Starkville. And the final game with an SEC team, Ole Miss and Arizona State from Lincoln. That's an 8 o'clock start. Thanks to the folks here at Rufino's. Have a great weekend, everybody, and stay tuned for Hunt on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.